Peace. And now was a vibe, but of course, 4th of July is Independence Day for some people, but not for all. Now, as I speak on this, it's not to go on one of those old slavery rants or, matter of fact, get caught up in, the trauma of, being black and things of this nature, but realize that, the independence, for melanated people in the Americas, our Turtle Island, aka, it was, and more so when I say melanated people, more so, and again, for lack of a better word, just so you could understand, because, when you say just melanated in general, that's, that could be more than just people who were in slavery in America. So, June, I want to say June 16th or 17th, don't quote me, I think it's June 16th, but Juneteenth is the holiday, for when, the slaves actually got their independence. So, now, at the same time, though, that's the thing, too, though, is where just being open-minded and understanding in general helps, is that, 4th of July, though, is still an energy you could connect with, because here's the thing, too, they make holidays based on, certain astronomical situations, that be popping off. What we call the summertime, the dog days of summer. Reason why it's called the dog days of summer, because it's connected to Sirius, the dog star, and it bringing extra heat with the sun. It was also said the whole aspect of like doing fireworks, around this time was to like throw like a decoy or like something to like throw off people from connecting with the Sirius stars, with the energy of Sirius, but just the stars in general, in that time. So again, like the Independence Day, when certain paperwork gets signed and certain laws get passed, all has to deal with something with the cosmos, with astrology, because they knew that we, knew how to follow the connections with the stars and the planets and the energies. So they mimic that aspect with holidays, but the holidays are based on something that don't bring energy to the soul and spirit, but just basically their holidays is to promote their institution, to get people more lost into their stuff and not knowing who they are, in that sense. What's up, y'all? Read the knees, Valerie Payas. I am Adresito. Red ribbons, blessings. Jen Sadiq, blessings. Abundance, blessings. Richest artists alive, blessings. I am Adresito. I said that already. For abundance, Alistair the hippie. Shaman Mimi, blessings. Darling expression. But yeah, 4th of July vibe, this is not, this is not anybody's independence if you, again, have the ancestry of coming from the slavery in America. Now, again, as I'm saying this shit, it's not to be on no, oh, woe's me, I was a slave on Independence Day. Remember, we always want to be lighthearted. Of course, though, we, in order to release trauma, it has to come up, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, most of us, and some of us haven't even, experienced it on that level to even still be poor mouthing or not doing the things that would really create freedom. So it's like poor mouthing for what when you still going to a 9 to 5 and going to do some slavery stuff regardless. To each his own. I'm not trying to clown you, not trying to knock your lifestyle. We all got different little karmic energies we're dealing with. Whatever it is, ain't nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 if you got knowledge of self. I'm talking to those who, I'm fighting this and that, but then you kind of still not enlighten yourself to the bigger situation. But, just to brief, I know I'm going to end up doing a video on this because I came across, I've been reading this book, Celestial Ship of the North. Matter of fact, y'all definitely, if you want a copy, just send me a message and I can send you the PDF of it. It's called Celestial Ship of the North. And I've been coming across it right now, which kind of, points to, again, we're dealing with this this new moon energy slash eclipse. The new moon energy is dealing with Cancer, and right now we're dealing with ways of dealing with home, with family. Mama in essence deals with our ancestry. The whole fact that or let's not even say fact, but the whole situation with women having a man's last name after marriage, it throws off our whole ancestry, because our true ancestry is our DNA and our lineage is passed down through our mother, and that's how we know it, through our mom's mitochondrial DNA. So the whole aspect of even having a male last name is false, and right now we get more into that aspect of realizing the mother aspect and how it's been pushed to the side for all these these generations. Go check out my video where I talk about snakes on the plane, and I get into set energy and how the set energy is basically like that primordial, that first sun, you know what I'm saying? And it turns into Satan and all these other things later, but it's about the first sun, Sirius, And also another aspect of these downloads that's been coming to me, also correlating everything to the Draco constellation, because the Draco constellation is close to the Big Dipper. And now I see why everything kind of secretly, as much as we talk about Orion and Sirius, it's about the Big Dipper, low-key, or what it is, Ursa Major, but basically the Bear constellation, you know what I'm saying? And the Bear constellation is in the north, or the heavens, and the north was considered to be, the place of the mother from the north, I even had the download that maybe, as much as, like, who's to say what we call north is north and south is south? Like, who's to say Antarctica isn't the north and the south isn't where Iceland is, you know what I'm saying? You never know, where Mount Meru might be in Antarctica instead of, what they say is the south. Or what they say is the north. But the north constellation of, again, the Big Dipper, and the Big Dipper has 7 stars, like 7 stars in it. And matter of fact, you see that these 7 stars, when you, matter of fact, and dipping into this book again, Celestial Ship of the North, it's speaking on how, you later get the planets, and then, of course, the chakras, which as above, so below, as within, so without, what goes on in the heavens eventually goes on, in the lower aspects. But, the 7 stars of the Great Mother, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let's see, Eden is created by the first turn of the 7 stars, which form the constellation of the Great Mother, or the great, the Great Bear in heaven. And these 7 were the archangels, and angels of light, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, the angels are angles of light as your angle of how you handle things. Like, from what angle do you approach situations, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what your ancestors, in essence, like your inner ancestors, is also connected to that aspect, Like, the angles is basically like, when you look at an angle has what to it? Degrees, you know what I'm saying? And when we talk about degrees, that's why they made, school about getting a degree, and giving you 1 degree instead of 360 degrees of knowledge. They give you 1 degree, you know what I'm saying? Mimicking the deeper and real occult, esoteric aspect. Occult meaning that which is hidden, esoteric meaning the inner meaning. But due to the angle you choose to come down into this realm, so say for instance, our angles, like what angle or what approach did we have coming down into this realm, you know what I'm saying? Like degree, like, because an angle has to be at a certain degree, you know what I'm saying? And, that's why we have a certain way of connecting with things, you know what I'm saying? Is because we came down into this realm at a certain angle, like an angel of light or angle of light, you know what I'm saying? And having a certain angle to our approach. Let's see. Once going through the full circle, or the 360 degrees, and again, the 360 degrees, the Ring of Solomon, and then also you could look at 360 degrees of like going through the full zodiac, and the connection with a cat having 9 lives, that's connected to the Lyran beings and the cat energy. and a cat has 9 lives, you know, or the feminine energy again, like the 9, you know, the connection to the feminine energy, because feminine, the word itself, if you take femi out, is 9, you know, and masculine is masculine, like one line, so it's masculine and feminine, the number 9, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, you know, that's connected to that, the Lyran being's energy, and the 9 lives times the 12 zodiac signs will give you 108 beads on your mala, you know. So you experiencing 9 lives in each 12 zodiac signs, you know, taking a different angle, you know, or let me take the Capricorn angle, let me take the Sagittarius angle, let me take the Aquarius angle, and then after you finish hitting all these angles in the elliptical, you will have a full 360 degrees of knowledge, because you went through the full circle of approaching this realm from all different angles of light, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the whole aspect. A friendly giant, peace, peace. You know, and right now we realizing this, you know, the deeper aspects of our being, and that, you know, again, this is a dream realm, and if I created Mickey Mouse and Scooby-Doo in my dream, I'm not going to be in my dream listening to Mickey Mouse and Scooby-Doo, knowing that I'm the creator. I'm going to continue. As I wake up, I'm going to create like how I created the dream in the first place, you know what I'm saying? That's another aspect, but, you know, the path constantly traveling. Another thing, too, that's why I'm bringing this up, you know, again, the Cancer energy, this eclipse energy, and it being a new moon is like having a new way of connecting with, you know, our, you know, ancestors, our inheritance, you know, on a DNA level, you know, just our approach to dealing with our ancestral line, you know what I'm saying, and family, you know what I'm saying, again, the Cancer is home, family, the mother, you know, that whole aspect. So again, the path constantly travel, aka your customs or traditions, you know, the path you constantly travel, the angle that you constantly take, you know, within lifetimes, you know. Reason why I got dreadlocks, because the angle that I constantly took was in correlation with a lineage that, you know, the beings, you know, wore dreadlocks and connected on that level, you know what I'm saying, to whatever lineage that speaks to, you know. Other beings might feel like they want tribal paint in their face all the time. But that's the, you know, there's different aspects. I'm just speaking on you know, the different indigenous cultures and vibes that's coming in as I'm speaking on it. But again, the path constantly travel, aka your customs and traditions of your ancestors. You know, those things are customs, what they are accustomed to, meaning the path that is constantly traveled, you know, tradition, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, again, familiar roads can be helpful and harmful in, when staying in a cycle. So say, for instance, traveling familiar roads does help, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, to go down a road where, you know, like, hey, my mom's used to go down this road all the time. That never happened, you know what I'm saying? But we realize, too, though, some of these old roads, you know, like, all right, it might be a road that my mom showed me and used to travel down, but now the road kind of, you know, it's not the same no more, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to still try to travel down that road even though it's not the same, just on some shit like, my mama used to travel down this road, so I don't care if it's switched up or it's not helpful to me. I'm going to still try to travel down this road. It's like, nah, you know, because that's how things, you know, you stay in certain cycles and you stay in certain loops, and you stop yourself from growing and expanding by, you know, continuously going down the same road over and over, you know what I'm saying? That's why another aspect of our growth right now is to, you know, be dealing with the beneficial aspects of our ancestors, but it's certain aspects that, you know, that no longer serve a purpose, you know what I'm saying? Like, we do things a little different, you know, within this realm in this lifetime compared to 60 years ago, you know what I'm saying? With borrowing some of those things from 60 years ago, of course, but, you know, moving forward, some things are just, you know, different, and it would take a different approach to dealing with certain things, and, you know, in this now, you know, in this moment. Oh, and I even thought about how a bicycle helps to travel a road and takes balance, you know. And I think about a bicycle kind of representing duality, you know, for the two tires, you know, you balance in between those two wheels, you know, to stay traveling down the road, you know. And then I thought about four wheels have more of a foundation, you know what I'm saying? Four wheels, like four elements and fix for a more sturdier way of travel. I just put this into my insight, and I'm going through it, you know, as I talk, but don't know the super significant, but something when I was writing this down, I had a little realization like, all right, a bicycle helps to travel down the road, and it takes, you know, that balance, you know, to ride a bike. And we think about, you know, the balance that's required within this realm, you know what I'm saying? Realizing that the dualities are two sides to one coin, you know. But that's basically, you know, the whole aspect, though. You know, with the ancestors connecting, you know, again, this 4th of July situation is, you know, shit. It's not even the people independence who claim it was independent, you know. I mean, cause those beings weren't slaves, you know what I'm saying? They ran away on some mischievous shit. Like, you know, most of the beings that came to, most of the people who came to build America was like rapers and pillagers and, you know, like people who, you know, was on some whole different aspects, you know. But, you know, so yeah, with that, that wasn't even independence for them, you know what I'm saying? But to each his own, look, you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna be on the war is me vibe, you know, of course not. Yeah, the celestial ship of the north. And it also connects with the, you know, again, the serpent. You know, the serpent is always what's connected to the feminine energy. You know, check out my video where I talk about, you know, Tiamat, you know, again, snakes on the plane. And there's another video, again, that I spoke on, you know, Tiamat, Leviathan. I think it was that video. Set, Soot, Typhon, you know what I'm saying? Typhon, Soot. And then as the new dynasty came in, you know, they switched it around, you know, to fit, you know, so it made Set or Soot look like a evil person because it was a new dynasty, you know what I'm saying? Again, like if I say this sprouted hummus is like the, you know, the best hummus ever, you know, and I had that rulership for 10 years, and then somebody else take over, and they trying to create their own little new thing or whatever, and they like, bruh, that hummus is the devil. We worshiping Shungite pyramids this lifetime, you know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, even though this hummus is not the devil and not evil, you know, through somebody else coming in and saying, hey, this is evil, and if we follow that construct, then that hummus becomes evil, you know what I'm saying? And Satan becomes something that's bad, or Saturn becomes something that's evil because of somebody else, you know, switching up, you know, the energies. The primordial darkness, I see somebody saying, can you talk about the primordial darkness? I mean, again, it's the triple darkness, as above, so below, as within, so without, you know. And I spoke on this before. The triple darkness, almost like the Wi-Fi symbol, too. It had a little dot right there, but Ain Soft, which is the names that come from the, you know, the Kabbalah. The Tree of Life and the Kabbalah is just, which I still feel is somewhat partial, because the full story is not being told necessarily with it. But, you know, it's like, you know, how as the triple darkness, we drop down in ignorance, you know, like we forgot certain aspects of ourselves so we can have an experience in order to connect back with that, you know, that darkness, that, you know, because we are the no thing on the experience, you know. None of this shit is us. You know what I'm saying? This is all accumulation of what we picked up on all our different lifetimes, you know what I'm saying? And expressing it within this lifetime, you know what I'm saying? And some of us as elder souls, you know, this is like a portal opening to say, hey, you know, for y'all old souls that been in this plane of existence for a long time. You know what I'm saying? You have a chance. Look, you made parole. You know, basically like these spiritual awakenings is like parole in essence. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a chance to move out of this chakra. You know, out of the loop, stand in the loop of this chakra, and you could go into another chakra. You know what I'm saying? But you know, the triple darkness, again, the 3 trimesters within the womb, you know, it takes 9 months for us to come out. 9 months. You know, again, you got Navaratri, the 9-month or the 9-night festival that's connected to Kali Ma, and getting rid of the ego energy, you know what I'm saying? And again, the 9 connected to, you know, the Lyran cat being energy, you know, and the Sekhmet, Bask, Hathor, like these are all, again, that feminine energy, and connecting back with the number 9. And again, you know, the triple darkness, because think about it, you know, it's like you're in a void and nothing, you know, there's nothing there, you know, and then after that triple darkness, after those 3 trimesters, a universe is born, literally and figuratively speaking, you know, as coming out with our bodysuits out of our mother, you know. Hey, Miss Raya Love, blessings, it was good to see you last night. This is new to me. Any references to learn more about? I'm kind of on the fly right here. Public figure brand, so I can't think of any little references right off the bat. You know, I get a lot of my knowledge on it from you know, the elder teacher Bobby Hemmett. You know, and then kind of backing up and then going to some of the literature that he quotes. You know, in his lectures, you know, to connect with. But yeah, everything goes back to the 7, and again, you know, the 7 stars in the Big Dipper, you know, being in the north, you know, and I think about all like the Fist of the North Star was a little cartoon, you know what I'm saying, that had a little vibe, like yeah, it's. All connected. Yeah, the celestial ship of the North. And this book was banned in 1993. You know, so for obvious reasons. Cause I ain't gonna lie, like now that I cracked that book open, like it been a while since a book had me like almost like on that movie watching type of binge. Like I feel like I'm watching a Netflix series reading this book. You know. And that's how reading should feel, man. It should be something that really has you. Like, you shouldn't be reading on some, like you in school type of vibe. Like, well, the teacher said to read this, so I'm going to read it. Like, read what a subject or dealing with something that you really would love to read, you know what I'm saying? But again, this book also breaks down, you know, again, the connection with the constellations, you know, duality of the upper and lower heaven is indicated as breath, or the constellation of Scorpio, and as water in that of the crocodile. So the Scorpio constellation, matter of fact, you see where you get the you know, the fixed signs. The 4 fixed signs are like the 4 cardinal directions in that sense. Not say cardinal like the cardinal signs, but you know, more so like the fixed elements, as to say it like that, you know. And also the aspect of how water and breath, you know, turns into like the blood. I mean, the water is like blood, the breath is like fire, you know. So you see where you get all these little, again, allegories and things in mythology, you know. The blood connected with the wines and the grapes, but that has nothing to do with Jesus. That came before Jesus. Matter of fact, done with the mother or the virgin, hence Virgo energy. And matter of fact, if you had a tarot card, the tarot card dealing with Virgo energy, in most cases gonna have little grapes on it, you know, to symbolize that wine or that blood, you know what I'm saying? And 2, like they even created a last name to create this little false sense of Jesus being a real character called a Mary Virgin. Like that's a last name, Mary Virgin or something like that. But, you know, again, the blood with the wine and grapes. As a matter of fact, one of the another book other than the Celestial Ship of the North, this book by a Gerald Massey book, called The Natural Genesis, Volume 1 and 2. Because that book is quoted a lot in this book, you know what I'm saying? So, again, Celestial Ship of the North, you know, and again, you probably won't find it, but if you look for it and find it, cool. Matter of fact, if you do happen to find an actual copy from somewhere, like, let me know. I would like to just have my hands on a copy of it, because again, I got it on PDF. It was banned in 1993, but you know, let me know. But Celestial Ship of the North, and again, Gerald Massey, Natural Genesis, Volume 1, page 137. And also like books from like Rudolf Steiner, Cosmic Memory. That's another one I'm tapped into. Rudolf Steiner in general is good for like, you know, deep occult esoteric information. Kenneth Grant, who was once over the OTO, and because he was kind of leaking too much stuff, like in essence, he had to fall back. He came out with the book Polaria, Gifted the White Stone, I think it's called, but under like a pen name called W.H. Mueller. You know, as a matter of fact, I remember Brethren Bobby Hemmings speaking on how the Brethren actually, because he kind of got banned on that type of level where he actually had to sneak into New Mexico and wrote it under like a little, you know, again under that W.H. Mueller thing, so it could get published in the open eye, you know, because I think at that point he was in, you know, kind of like on some exile vibes to like Europe somewhere. Not say exile, but you know, like again, you know, he was leaking the sauce and not too many people were fond of him, you know. Same thing when you think about Pascal Beverly Randolph. Pascal Beverly Randolph was a melanated man in America, started the Rosicrucians in America, and he actually was one of the first people to tap into sex magic and things of this nature, you know. And the occultists in America kind of had a little beef with him, you know what I'm saying? Of course, due to, you know, having a little melanin in the vibes, and that was against the agenda to have a person of, you know, a color or melanin, whatever, to be like a forerunner of occult information and esoteric occult, as they were trying to build this false nation. Again, too, Pascal Beverly Randolph worked with Abraham Lincoln on a few things as well, you know. So you go look at all these people who I just named, you know, watch this live video again. You know, most likely I would probably put it on YouTube as well. Yeah. Hey, blessings. Cosmic roster. Salute. Yeah. Again, the Holy Spirit, the Word of God, you know, that was in essence a feminine energy, you know what I'm saying? But one of these quotes, matter of fact, from the author Celestial Ship of the North, basically just speaking on mythology and how it's, you know, it's been connected throughout different pantheons. And matter of fact, when you read all the different pantheons, you know, whether it's Yoruba, West Africa, you know, Norse mythology, you know, whatever the pantheon is, it's going to have similar aspects, you know what I'm saying, when you look at the characters and what's going on, you know. But again, the Egyptian Kepch, or Cush, became the Hebrew Chavak. I know I'm kind of saying it wrong, and I would, of course, I'm doing this again. This is a live video because honestly, I'm gonna still most likely do this video just as a YouTube vibe, but you know, I'm in one of those vibes where like, hey, now is the vibrate. I got this information that been. It's like one of those things that I'm like, bro, I've been tapped into this, so let me spill some of it because it is time. You know, it's you know, moment sensitive. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily time sensitive, but you know. But you know, again, the story of you know, again, being from the north, you know, the celestial ship of the north, and connecting with that mother energy. And another reason why I brought up that aspect earlier about like Antarctica possibly being in the, you know, being the north instead of the south is because, you know, within Africa, you know, going to the north in essence, like to Ethiopia or Kush is considered going to the north. You know, from Kush. You know, it's like, all right, if you go from Kush, well, we look at a map, you know, it's a going to Ethiopia, the north, and these are the ancient beings who existed before other people started saying what's right, what's south, north, east, west. If this existed before people started playing around with the information, then this must have some type of some type of truth in it, or something must be going on here, something to look into, And again, the head and the tail of the dragon represents the ascending nodes. Cause that's another thing too. First thing started off where we were dealing with things from watching the stars. Our time was based off of stars first. Then it was based off of the moon. And then now it's based off of the sun. So it's like 3 different eras. Again, Seb Chronos, because again, even Soot, and I talked about that with a video I did not too long ago about Soot or Sothis, Sirius end up becoming, Saturn in essence. And even in my video where I talk about Ophiuchus and how Ophiuchus is like a reincarnation of Orion, and because also you think about it like that, like stars move by this, or energies move by this, and that essence reincarnated into a different spot on a constellation level. Again, Seb Chronos, SEB, and then Chronos, Kronous, which later comes, Chronos, Father Time, and Saturn, and things of nature. But Seb Chronos is the second condition of time after his mother, the goddess of time. Again, everything goes back to the mother aspect, which has been constantly taken away from, the perspective in order to mislead everybody. Now, as Soot, he was the first announcer of time, but as Seb Chronos, he became a repeater of time. So Soot was the announcer of time. And you think about again the Grim Reaper and things of this nature. But again, Seb Chronos became the repeater of time, so like being in the lesson loop, or being the repeater of time in dual aspect, you know what I'm saying? When we think about dual or double or devil, like the devil, the double, you know what I'm saying? And again, from being in a dual aspect or duality, you know what I'm saying? You get that energy. And so, became again, Seb Chronos became a repeater of time in dual aspect called the sun and Sirius, and then or Saturn, later. And matter of fact, and you see that's why it's important to go back and start, getting information. The earliest type of Sirius, Sirius wasn't necessarily the dog star at the beginning of things. In the essence of say for instance from aspects in inner Africa, in certain places and not saying Africa again is the only origin place like that again, but just it does have its significance, you know what I'm saying, but it's not for everybody to have this blind I gotta go back to Africa, or if I don't do that I'm not connected, or this and that, indigenously been all over this plane of existence, you know what I'm saying. But the Sirius was actually a giraffe before a dog, and called the Ser, S-E-R, So there's all these different many different aspects. And again, the head and the tail of the dragon represents the ascending and the descending nodes of the moon. So it represents the south node and the north node of the moon, you know what I'm saying? And you think about the south node and the north node of the moon, also again connected with the mother energy, the moon connected with Cancer, you know what I'm saying? And the Cancer energy, matter of fact, in the temple of Dendera, Dendera, however you want to say it, it seems like it has a certain significance pointed to the Cancer constellation, which Cancer is also the scarab, scarabs, crab, kind of that whole little vibe. But it was the scarab beetle before the crab. Again, Celestial Ship of the North is the book, basically where my notes coming from, but I can send it to you. I have the PDF file. Just send me a DM. But what else? just looking for, because another thing too, you know, I don't want to be just rambling like that. I want to make sure I'm speaking from different little aspects. But again, in duality of light and shade, there are two solstices, north and south. Two stars or constellations are connected with this division and are known as the lawgivers of the zodiac. So, again, the two stars or constellations that are connected to this division of light and shade, or the two solstices, are known as the lawgivers. And these stars are Cepheus in the north and Regulus in the south. Libra, the scales between those two truths, you know what I'm saying? If you think about Libra, the scales in the equinox is the, the spiritual birth from above or physical birth from below. But the Libra is like that scale in between those two truths, you know what I'm saying? In between that duality. So again, everything comes from, you know, astronomical stories and situations. And you have, again, in Regulus is a star in the Leo constellation. I forgot what Cepheus is. I can't recall in this moment. But again, just that whole aspect of everything being created. And again, you know, it's like the going through the zodiac signs explains explains the aspect of our creation, you know, coming from the triple darknesses and into a physical aspect, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the two serpents of the two serpents of the beginning were the constellations Draco in the north, which is by, you know, the Big Dipper. And then you got Hydra in the south, you know. And again, Set was said to break out of his mom's womb out of the south gate, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, with an axe. And the axe kind of looks like the nectar, or the symbol, you know, like symbol kind of looks like a 7, you know. I spoke on that before. It's kind of from my other, the X. That's it. But, you know. So again, you know, everything going back to, you know, to the serpent energy, the Nagas, you know what I'm saying? Like, because even with, you know, people may look at the word niggas derogatory, but again, in essence, it comes from the Nagas, you know what I'm saying? Like, the serpent energies. And matter of fact, no coincidence that even in, you know, Ethiopia, Nagus Nagas was a word for like a high authority. I forgot what it actually translates to, but you know, all points back to the serpent energy coming from out of the primordial darkness. Again, Tiamat, coming from out of the abyss, you know, Leviathan, you know, and that's why all these different occult aspects use your knowledge, but then try to make you scared of it, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, say for instance, the symbol for the Church of Satan is, you know, got the Baphomet sign with Leviathan written in Hebrew around the edges of it, you know what I'm saying? So they tapping into that primordial mother energy and that sexual kundalini energy and scaring you away from it while you run around like, oh, George Bush is a reptilian. No, reptilians, I'm scared of reptiles. Oh, I don't fuck with reptilians, this and that, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's the whole game. Which is very smart, by the way. Kudos to them for doing their homework. And you see why it's important for us to do our homework. And you see why it was important for them to implement that new age spiritual vibe of like, oh, only be positive. Don't go looking at the facts of your history, especially if it's negative. You know, don't just stay, just don't know your roots. Because again, think about a tree. You know, like if a tree didn't have roots, like say for instance, if every tree just got stripped of its roots right now, bro, everybody better be yelling out timber. There's gonna be some trees falling. So as above, so below, as within, so without. And should I say just the correlation to us nature, like, you know, naturally, you know, a tree without roots cannot stand. So how do you expect to stand without your roots and in the standing of your roots? You know what I'm saying? Hence, you know, again, the Cancer energy is, you know, helping for you to tap into that, you know, that ancestral energy. You know, again, change, you you know, learning about different aspects and also dealing with your family, like new ways of, dealing with your immediate family. And again, your soul family, ancestral family, all that. But again, the primitive idea of the origin of good or evil as opposite principles has evolved into God versus devil. And matter of fact, in the book they said evolve, but I put devolve. I'm like, the primitive idea of the origin of, good or evil, opposite principles, that comes later, when other people touching on this information. Some just, some information was changed in order to be able to be grasped, easier. Then some was changed to purposely try to write out certain aspects of what really happened, and change her story into his story, you know what I'm saying? And as I say that, the reality of the situation, the feminine aspect is like the beginning, like there's no technical beginning, but I mean that essence is what, you know what I'm saying? And you look at my video of the Immaculate Conception, check that video out. And then I forgot what I worded that video, but the other video I was like, hey, the earth is like the child of like Lucifer is the first son, or the first, or should I say Set, or Sut Typhon, the first son of the mother. And then that first son also became the first father, you know what I'm saying? Because, again, mom had a son, and, and then she had sex with her son, and, like that whole aspect. But again, this is that's why everything is about the mother and child, and then, here come Constantine later, and Freemasonry and all this other stuff, that comes to switch this up, to confuse the masses and give you one degree of knowledge instead of 360 degrees, the ring, the ring of Solomon, that full 360 degrees of knowledge. You only got like a little bit of it. And how funny it is, well, they give you that 1 degree and then they put that black box of Saturn on your head, like, here you 1 degree. And of course, when you graduate, some of these institutions, everybody not necessarily in on it on that level. It's some people, most people don't really know this. That's why, hence, it's happening. Like, why people like get a diploma, like, I got my 1 degree. You know what I'm saying? Reason why, it's like that is because most people don't know. Because if most people knew, then, it would be spoken on a lot more to, and again, not knocking nobody that's in school or dealing with that system, to each his own on your path and your purpose in this lifetime. But again, it's 360 degrees of knowledge, so why they just, they choosing to feed you this on Monday and choosing to feed you this information on Tuesday and choosing to feed you this information, and not telling you about every book and every piece of information, you know what I'm saying, and you get your 1 degree, you know what I'm saying, and it's like, again, not knocking it, man, because that, to me, that is something to be happy for regardless, whether you see it as something that you could use or being happy because you finally made it out of that shit, either way, it is something to be happy that you graduated and got your 1 degree, out of 360 degrees. You got 359 degrees to go. As I'm laughing, again, I'm not laughing at nobody, because again, that, but it's just like, damn, bro, that shit crazy. How much they tapped into this deep information and hidden it and got us all believing some of these, some of this bullshit. Yes. And again, that's basically it, y'all. What's up, everybody? But, yeah. And again, June 16th, again, June 16th or 17th, but Juneteenth is the independent, like on our human shit in this matrix, in this little dream realm that we created. You know what I'm saying? Slaves were freed on again like June 16th or June 17th, not July 4th. And even the independence of July 4th, it's like independent from what? You fighting yourself in the first place, but to each his own. You gotta start somewhere and grow from there. But that's basically it. Again, the 7 stars and everything just going back to 7. The Book of Enoch. Well, Enoch asks about. Matter of fact, check out my video where I talked about. I don't know if you look up universal frequencies and either 777 or universal frequency and 7, it may pop up. But everything goes back to 7. And matter of fact, even in this to switch from the book Celestial Ship of the North, you look at Cosmic Memory by Rudolf Steiner. He speak on the root races, and it was Lemurian, Atlantis, and Aryan, which Aryan in essence is Orion. That's why later the Aryans called themselves the Aryans to try to tap into that energy. You know what I'm saying? And even taking the swastika, which is an emblem that I forgot what the meaning of it. I think it has something to do with peace, but I'm not stay in my lane. I can't recall too much, but the swastika did represent something that was more beautiful than what the Nazi regime was about. But again, and even beauty is in the eye to behold as well. Thinking about that, what somebody may call beauty or not beauty. But again, the Lemurian, Atlantis, and Aryans were like the root races, And two, you think about Aryan or Orion, hence, the Kemetic pyramid is lined up with Orion's belt, But basically, in the book Cosmic Memory, Rudolf Steiner speaks on how there was 2 races that preceded the Lemurians and 2 races that are coming after the Orions, which would make a total of 7 races, and going back to the 7 connected to. And again, we say races not like in the human aspect of the sense of it. Again, it's like 7 different, vibrational energies that, within a bodysuit it would be, again, for lack of a better word, called a race, but it's not, again, it's more so different energies. But, again, so just everything going back to that 7 energy. In the Draco's constellation, matter of fact, the from the movie Doom to Robert Morningsky's breakdown. If you go look up right now on YouTube, look up Terra Papers, Terra Papers, or Robert Morningsky, and it's like a 3-hour lecture that he has, and he runs the whole little story of the Inca and Lil vibe. And of course, again, some perspectives are kind of missing or a little broad, but you get the gist. Like, he did a good job at getting the gist of that story, explained, and it's, they talk about these old reptilian queens, which is the old mother that's just been turned to seem like it's something evil, you know what I'm saying? There's that primordial mother energy, that Tiamat energy coming from the abyss, matter of fact, because in the story with Tiamat, and again, Samaria, what it is, Samaria and Babylonia and all that comes after. Like, that's another aspect of them trying to apply, in which, again, here where it just goes to resonate in your heart. Just because they took Summer, the Sumerian tablets and all that, and try to make that, this is the end all be all, I'm not, just because they tried to do that or, whatever, I'm not going to be mad and be like, I'm not going to look at any information from, Sumerian tablets or anything dealing with Summer or Babylon because they tried to flip it. But no, they're still going to have some truths in it, but just know that, again, like, that civilization came way after, way later. shit to jam on. Anyway, and none of this music I don't own the rights to any of this music in the background if it's being heard, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, where was I? Yes, Terror Papers. Yep, and that whole aspect of making the, again, the feminine aspect seem evil, evil. Again, the serpent later turned into a tempter instead of the protector of the tree of knowledge. The serpent encircling the tree, is keeping that eternal watch over Eden, Again, 7 stars in the Great Mother constellation are, the Big Dipper, in the northern sky. And I spoke to this before. Also, another video that will help kind of tie in some things to my video about Friday and Freya and Frigg, and the video that I recently did, my newest video on the Ophiuchus and its connection with Orion, that would help as well. It's all pointing back, to divine feminine energy, in connection with, serpents, sexual energy coming from the primordial darkness, It's all interconnected. Another Gerald Massey book to check out. I think I may have it. I'm not sure. I had to check my thing again. But Ancient Egypt, The Light of the World by Gerald Massey. Gerald Massey, Gerald, Massey, Massey. Oh, this is what I was looking for. The Draco constellation, slightly under Ursa Major, Polaris, the North Star. Matter of fact, the North Star, everybody tell you when you're lost, find the North Star. And I talked about this movie talking about Ma. Got the black lady on the front and talking about find your way home, or it's time to go back home, or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And no coincidence when we talk about find our way home, and we talk about the stars, it's like follow the North Star. And the whole aspect with us, is like being the change you want to see, dealing with your inner universe, and you'll be a beacon of light that'll guide people, in that manner, Like not trying to force, like again, being who I am, I'm just doing what I do and sharing information. As I'm sharing this information, I'm not saying everybody believe every word that comes out of my mouth. Like, nah, take what resonate, leave what don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm expressing myself because I'm a person who likes to express, occult and esoteric information, Now, if somebody happen to want to donate to me because of what I speak on or whatever, that's cool, you know what I'm saying? I sustain myself for doing what I love, which again, that would, think about Alan Watts speaking on that, that would be the reasonable thing to do to make sure that I am, taking care of myself from doing what I love, but what we talking about? 3 stars. Matter of fact, yeah, man, that's a lot of stuff. You also got, hold on, let me grab some other stuff.
I feel your energy and
Appreciate
everything.
it. All right. What is aspect? Where is it? Oh, it's 666. Well, I just said 666 equals 18, which equals 9. You know what I'm saying? So you have that aspect. 666, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 protons, neutrons, and electrons. The carbon, aka the melanin carbon, and the reason why again, shungite and the chaga mushroom is very detoxifying is because of the carbon that is inside of it. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the 144 across the forehead. You know, you count the petals. You know, you ever seen the symbols, the Sanskrit symbols for the chakras? They each have a certain amount of petals, and when you add those amount of petals up, you get 144, and then times the 1,000 petal lotus of the crown chakra, you get 144,000 across the forehead. Now, 144 also, let's see. I don't have it right here. I'll find it. But again, 144 equals 9 as well. You know what I'm saying? Then they got a story in the Bible where Jesus caught 153 fish. 153 equals 9. You know what I'm saying? Again, you got the Navaratri, the 9-night festival, which is connected to Kali Ma. Kali Ma is basically like the Shakti energy. You know, and a lot of things been coming through with Shiva energy as well. You know, the Shiva energy been coming up, you know, which is the destroyer, you know. And again, when we say destroyer, you know, generator, operator, destroyer, you know, GOD. That's all of it, you know. It generates, it operates, and then it destroys. Destroyer is not a bad thing, you know. When I think about the 40 drinking me, you know, I destroyed that aspect of me. You know, I don't drink 40s anymore, you know, because that, you know, that's a aspect that had to transition. You know what I'm saying? And then 2, you know, with all this going back to 9. And then, you know, the Kundalini serpent is said to be wrapped around the root chakra in the spine. At the bottom of the spine is wrapped around 3.5 times. And if you multiply, you know, 3 times 360 degrees, you know, which that's also connected to the zodiac as well. 3 times 360, you get 1,080. And then you multiply that same 360 times that half, you know, or 0.5, however you want to do it, and you come out with 180, you know, because half of 360 is 180, you know, the straight angle like that, you know, and then you add the 1,080 plus the 180, you get 1,260, you know, which adds up to 9, you know what I'm saying, as well. And not to mention that 360 adds up to 9 as well. You know what I'm saying? And when you do numerology, you know, 9 goes back into itself again, because we only have like 9 numbers. Like everything else is a continuation, like trying to, you know, like 20, 21, 22. That ain't nothing but the same numbers over and over again, because 20 is 2. 21 is 3, because you add 2 plus 1 is 3. 22 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. You know, 23 is 5. You know, 2 plus 3. You know, so it's only from 0 to 9. You know, and that's it. So seeing that correlation as well. Of course, our numbers. Let's see. Give me one more second. Let me see something. Time for me to go outside and catch some good sun. 144 was connected to like basically is the 144, or maybe I should say 1,440 is the degrees like all together of the octahedron, which deals with the air element. See it, 154 over the air. You know, and when we think about the 144, you know, again, with the air, like as I do pranayama breathing, that activates the chakras, you know what I'm saying? And like the energy goes through each chakra, through those 7, you know, storms, or those 7 wheels, you know what I'm saying? Going through those 7 wheels, you know, and goes to the, you know, the top. You know what I'm saying? Through that air aspect, you know, and the air again is represented by octahedron, and the octahedron has 1,440 degrees in it. You know? Using your 72 Goetia Elisha, 72 plus 72, 144 for a ring of Solomon.